Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. It's Alan Barry Labacan here. I'm the founder of the rocksandstocksnews.com, and I'm also the CEO of publicly traded Advanced Gold. AAX is the symbol for the company. And there's been some really exciting stuff happening with silver over the last few days that I wanted to talk about today, and then talk about how Advanced Gold is right in the heart of the world capital of silver production. 10% of the silver comes from within about 10% of the silver ever produced worldwide comes from about 150-mile radius of where our key project is, the Tabascania project. But let's start with silver. And this weekend, or Friday, I did an interview and I was talking with the folks at Agoracom. And what I was talking about was the action that happened on Reddit and the short squeeze that happened on GameStop and some other companies. And what I talked about was that I thought that that was going to start playing itself out in silver, because silver tends to be quite heavily shorted as well. And so then on the weekend came, I did that show about late in the trading day on Friday. Then the weekend came and the internet just blew up about a silver squeeze potential. There was a hashtag, there was people on Reddit talking about it in the same forum as the one that caused all the action into GameStop. And then there was also a hashtag on silver squeeze, hashtag silver squeeze on Twitter that got very popular as well. There was multi-millions of posts just in about a 24 to 48 hour period. And so I thought that I made some comments that I thought the price of silver would start out trading. It starts on Sunday night on the futures market, and it came right out of the gate, trading very aggressively. It was up about 7% or so, and I mentioned that I think the crazy is just getting warmed up for silver. Supply is extremely tight, and it doesn't take a lot of new buying pressure to come in to really start to move the price of silver up. And that's exactly what happened right out of the gate as soon as futures started trading. Not only did they trade up quite aggressively, but they traded on around 10 times the average volume usually at that hour of the day. So there was this groundswell of interest that was building online on Twitter and Reddit, really played itself out early in the trading. And then throughout today, that trading volume continued, the action continued. At one time, silver was up over 10%, over $30 an ounce, which makes it a 7-year high for the price of silver. So the demand's good, the price is moving up. An interesting thing that also happened over the weekend was there was unprecedented silver demand of physical with these online retailers. Some of them had to shut down their buying because they ran out of silver, including Sprott Money, which is a pretty big player in the physical silver market. And there just wasn't enough silver out there for these buyers that were coming into. They were just buying everything online. And so I think if you looked at the silver price in the physical market, it's even more bullish than in the futures market. But we got a really good out of the box action in the silver market. I think a lot of the silver shorts that are these hedge funds that tend to bully the price of silver primarily because they can. They were met by a group of retail investors that really fought back. And that's why we're seeing silver price so strong. For example of how strong it is, on a normal day when gold and silver move up, on a green day I call it, the price of silver will tend to move up about 3 times higher than the price of the gold move. So let's say gold moves up 0.5%, the silver market tends to move up 1.5%. Well, today, gold is up around 0.5%, and silver has been anywhere from 7% to over 10% up. So that's a substantial, unusual kind of action for the price of silver. And I think a lot of that lays on the shoulders of these investors, these retail investors that are starting to talk online. I call it the democratization of the stock market, because this is retailers who usually get abused by the funds and the hedge funds, but that certainly hasn't happened yesterday or last night and today. And so it's quite exciting action that's happening in silver. And I just think it's really early days of these retail investors starting to get more active in silver. And it doesn't take a lot of demand growth for silver to really move, as I said earlier. And so I think this is a trend. I think it's far from, I think it's a short-term trend that will morph into a longer-term trend, because silver, if you look at it on the supply and demand scenario, supply is very tight. In fact, as silver's been going up to this 7-year high, the production is actually declining. And that's normally not the way things work in the commodities business. If the price is up, usually production goes up. The reason it can't go up is because there's been a few decades of underinvestment in exploration to find and develop new mines to replace what's being mined out every year. And so the supply is very tight and demand is strong. It's growing now with all these retail investors starting to recognize that, the same thing that happened with GameStop and Nokia and some of these other companies is ripe to happen in the price of silver and gold, for that matter, and other commodities that tend to get bullied by the hedge funds. And so the supply and demand scenario is very good. Demand for silver isn't just for jewelry and stuff like that. There's also a lot of industrial demand because it's crucial in solar energy. Those panels take up a lot of silver, and that really never gets recycled back into the market. And then as a monetary commodity, if you hold silver, it tends to act like money and trades the opposite of the price of the US dollar. And so it's got a lot of great bullish dynamics to it. And I think we're going to see even higher prices. Now, I'm also CEO of Advanced Gold, and that makes me unique in the commentary business, because not many, I think there's one other commentator on the market who also runs his own public company where he's a CEO. And so that makes me pretty unique, that not only do I talk about exploration in the market, but I also do it with Advanced Gold. And a few years ago, I moved from Vancouver down to Zacatecas, Mexico. The reason that I did that is because Zacatecas is the world capital of silver. 25% of the silver ever produced in Mexico comes from Zacatecas state. 10% of the silver ever produced worldwide comes from Zacatecas state. In fact, it's concentrated in a pretty tight area called the Silver Belt, Central Mexico Silver Belt, and within about 150-mile radius of where I live in Zacatecas City are some of the biggest silver mines ever. Fresnillo, the city of Fresnillo, has had silver production since the 1500s, and same with the city of Zacatecas. About 25 miles to the south of those are to the north of our project. 25 miles or so to the south is where Real de Angeles is. That at one time was the largest silver mine in the world. We have companies like Mag Silver is about 70 miles from us. Mag Silver is in the late stages of building a mine just outside the city of Fresnillo. And when they get that into production, they'll be the second lowest cost producer of silver in the world. Why that happens here is because there's great infrastructure, like there's a road going right through our Tabasqueña project. Power goes through the project as well. And so you've got a infrastructure rich area, lots of great mining workers, and super low cost. Like, for example, Fresnillo PLC, the publicly traded company on the London Exchange, is the world's lowest cost producer. And that's, again, about 70 miles from us. And they're partnered up with Mag Silver, and they're going to be the 1 and 2 lowest cost producers of silver in the world. And that's all because of these epithermal vein systems that are found in the Zacatecas and Central Mexican silver belt. And what we found is we found a network of probably about 25 or 30 epithermal veins in the near surface drilling that had widespread gold and silver mineralization, all the way up to high grade silver and gold in the drilling. And there's a corridor of these veins that is about 2,000 meters long, by now about 500 meters wide. And we found a series of these epithermal veins coming up in that corridor. And the drilling we're doing right now is drilling underneath the hole that we hit the high grade gold. And then it'll continue and drill underneath the network of veins. And why this is quite exciting is these veins, there's what's called zonation of grade. What it means is that depending on where you are relative to surface, there is a zone, usually about 300 meter zone, that has the bonanza grades that make up all these mines here. And so it's like sort of like a boiling pot of water, if you will. Where you have the bubbles, you're going to get lower grade, and then where you have the boiling water, you're going to get the higher grade. And the stuff that's nearest to surface is kind of like the bubbles in that boiling pot of water. We've only drilled into the bubbles, and we're already finding widespread gold and silver mineralization in all of the veins. So it's not just 1 or 2 of those veins. There's widespread gold and silver mineralization along strike on that 2,000 meter corridor and from east to west. And so now it's incumbent upon us to get deeper into the system to find the potential for bonanza grades. And that's the drilling we're doing right now is focused on that. We also have another target on the project that's quite exciting. It's we found some sulfides. Sulfides are the sulfur that comes off of volcanic activity. And these are what bring the gold, silver, zinc, lead, copper to the surface and close to surface. And we found some high-grade zinc. Now we have, so we kind of have 2 targets. We've got this network of veins, and we have the sulfide system. In fact, I hope to have some news out here fairly soon with an update on how the drilling's going. So stay tuned for that. As I said, you know, Advance is really in tremendous elephant country for silver and other metals for that matter. And like I said, 10% of the silver ever produced in the world comes from Zacatecas, this region of Zacatecas state. So take a look at my Advanced Gold. AdvancedGold.ca is the website, and AAX is the symbol in the venture exchange. Something else that with my Rocks and Stocks news, I'm planning a online conference for February 15th. If you go to the website rocksandstocksnews.com, you can join the email list, and then we'll notify you when that goes live on the 15th. Some of the companies that I have coming in for that show, that online show, I've got Arizona Silver. They are a presenter at the show. The Arizona Silver has a high-grade silver and gold project in Arizona, as the name suggests. And they're another one you want to keep an eye on. Ridgeline Minerals, they're a sponsor of the show. They're focused in Nevada. And in Nevada, they've got some good results off of two of their key projects. And you want to check out those because they're in a very low cost area. And Nevada, and they're also getting mineable values in a open pit type of a scenario right at surface. And so that's an exciting one. Ridgeline RDG is their symbol. Of course, Advanced Gold is a sponsor, and AAX is their symbol. That's a silver gold focus. Sterling Minerals, Sterling Metals, SAG is their symbol. They're going to be a presenter at the show. They're a new company that's looking for high silver in Newfoundland. And Newfoundland's getting a lot of attention lately, and I think you'll see some good stuff out of them. They're going to start drilling in the next couple of months, so keep an eye on Sterling. On the gold front, I've got Amex Exploration. AMX is their symbol. They're a sponsor of the show. I think that they've got one of the best high-grade gold discoveries on the planet. What makes it exceptional is some companies can find a little gold here, a little gold there, a little over here, but trying to put it together into a mineable deposit is challenging. These guys have tremendous high-grade continuity along strike and at depth, and that is very unique to come across. I think that they're going to I think they have a mine there, and I think they're ultimately going to get bought out. And when they do, I think it's going to be at significantly higher prices than where it is trading right now. Sokoman Minerals symbol is SIC. They're also in Newfoundland, and what they're looking for is they've drilled into some high-grade intersections of gold, and what they're trying to do is to figure out that gold system. And once they figure out that gold system, it's not going to take them very long to add a lot of ounces really quickly. So that's a one on the gold front to keep an eye on. SIC is their symbol. And then QCX is focused in gold in some very good camps in Quebec. Quebec is the best jurisdiction for mining in the world, one of the best top 2 or 3 jurisdictions in the world for being mining friendly. And so they have a tremendous story as well. And I'd invite you to their early stages, but they'll also be starting drilling not too distant future. And they're a good one to take a look at as well. So there you have it. There's some exciting things happening in silver. I think we're seeing a breakout that has legs. You want to be looking at some silver companies that I mentioned, including my company, Advanced Gold. And I think this is also going to be bullish for gold because the same fundamentals of a lot of supply or a lot of soft supply and lots of demand. And I think this new retail audience that's coming into silver will also make their way into gold. So there's exciting times ahead for both gold and silver. On that note, I wanted to, I'll close now and say that, this show is for information purposes only. It's important for you to do your homework and speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. Visit my rocksandstocksnews.com website, where we've done a lot of great commentary over the last few months. I also have a lot of commentary at Allenberry Reports, which is .com, which is another website that I founded many years ago. My focus really on the commentary side is on rocksandstocksnews.com, but I've talked about a lot of good companies on at Allenberry Reports as well. Check out these companies and have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.